This is for Mr. Jonathan Cahn, I believe is the pronunciation of this name. I just watched 7 minutes on YouTube of Jonathan Cahn. And I have never been, well, maybe, but not for a while, so stuck in cobwebs of confusion from strange doctrines of men that make sons of hell that after 7 minutes I felt like I might spiritually gag from lack of true air. So I must smoke a cigarette. Because I cannot believe that this is supposed to be the hope of the world? Is that where you're in the world and of the world? Because that's not hope to me. You did a lot of geography in that wild lesson, and you did for 7 minutes with all these pictures of the desert and these promises from Amos that are still coming true. Please do tell me, Mr. John Cahn, with all your books like Harbinger and Harbinger 2, did you plan on doing something with Trump, maybe? I don't know. Do you know about the gold coins with the swords for the heads of the breakers of the anti-Semite LGBTQ laws, or was that a mystery to you? And why weren't you pushing Trump and helping him? And did you approve of his buying into the Tree of Life cabal? Was that all part of the plan? Because in your very confusing 7 minutes that I saw that were just cobwebs of history and geography mixed with Amos prophecy, wow, that's not about a king, that's for sure. And do you believe that Muslims are currently praying for Allah, the Son of God King, to come? Just like Philippians 2 says, along with Buddhists looking for a Son of God Karma King? And what again is your great theology? Or are you a messianic Jew? Is that what it is? And do you like that whole American Holocaust idea, where many will be beheaded, so I guess they can just get the crown of life? Is that what the American Holocaust plan is? And is that why you never want to talk about a coming king in Philippians 2? Or when the king does come in Revelation 2 and exposes all the chaff? Because seems like the fake church might be a lot bigger than I thought if people like you are going to keep preaching like you serve a prince. I don't want to judge unless it would be righteous judgment, but you seem to be a little yeasty, my dear John. Is your last name Cahn or C-O-N, Cahn? Because I sometimes wonder the way you preach. Because if there was a spiritual shuffleboard for a preacher to do, I tell you what, you can play really well, and you've got many words, that's for sure, but I don't know how much truth there is in them, but I guess if you arrange them right, it can sure sound tickling to the ears, and you've had a lot of fans, but still seem to, even after all these years. So please do tell about what's going to happen in Revelation 22 when there's no more oceans, when we're drowning in 7 seas of lies. And does the king who comes like your theology? And how you never want to talk about a coming king? And is not the book of Matthew pretty important for the true Israel that you love to speak about? Maybe if you would read and teach the book of Matthew, you might see that when the king came, he exposed all those Pharisees as lying thieves who were teaching doctrines of men to make hellboys. And I don't know why you keep promoting your, rabbinic teachings? Are you in line with Dennis Prager and BB's rabbi who thinks that Jesus boils in crap? Because I'm just a little confused by your theology when the king did say to those Pharisees, if they just followed the greatest 2 commandments, that would summarize all of the law and the prophets, including Amos, who you teach now. So isn't the greatest reset to just love God right and your neighbor as yourself? Or did you have some other plan that you're preaching? Because if the king's coming the way he died, in a robe of blood that he died in, well, what are you preaching about exactly, and why? When the king needs to come and mask-induced pneumonia gives you COVID symptoms just like it did in World War I, but that's not in your many words. But the king did say, when you pray, don't pray, or maybe preach, like the Pharisees, who love to be known for their many words. I always thought that had something to do with women not leading in the church, because they usually say 25,000 words a day, but a man usually says 10. And that's nothing against women, but they do make kids, and when they raise those kids that they bear, well, after they're born, they have those words to teach them truth. At least that's the idea. And, well, because women have emotions more too, it's good for them to show those emotions to those kids as they raise them. And, well, the man usually would be at work, not using his mouth in clever ways, but hey, everybody has their interpretations these days. But you would think as a man, you would cut to the chase with the truth, because if truth is a double-edged sword, and you do know it well, then please do show that you're not caught up in doctrines of men that make sons of hell. Because if you refuse to preach on Revelation right now, or Philippians 2, or Matthew, any of Matthew, especially blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom, as in kingdom coming to earth as it is in heaven, with 72 million aborted here, but born in heaven? Well, that's funny that you want to hide these things. Doesn't sound too like a king coming to me, but I'm sure princes are very happy with what you preach because, well, they've been ruling or trying to rule for quite a while, along with our acting president with his gold coins that did you invest in? But anyway, that's another subject. I would just like you to make clear what it is you're teaching and where you're trying to lead the sheep, because it seems like your sheep might be stuck in glue traps and blinded by your strange theologies, which might be the yeast of the Pharisees that might be similar to the mark of the beast of the heart, you see. So I don't know what exactly you're doing, Mr. Cahn, but if you don't come out and say that you preach for the coming king that all will bow to, then, well, you might be part of the beastly chaff tribe that I will just have to say does blaspheme, because if you don't worship the king, well, you might be part of those ones that soon get washed out to sea. So Revelation comes true, but there's no more lies and no more seas, because right now we are drowning in 7 seas of lies, and that might be more in the church than in the world, because the government and the church seems to have many thieving liars. And I don't know which has more, or if they're both on the same dark page. So please, do shine some light on us, Mr. Jonathan Cahn, as to what exactly your theology is and what your end times views are, especially now, because I didn't hear if you are into that rapture theory, but some of your stuff sounds like it might be along with some of the UFO cold-blooded planet routines that, well, some of those Star Trek movies might come true with those with weak faith, because the king said, according to your faith, it will be given you. So do tell Mr. Jonathan Cahn, what is your faith? And where is your king, or who is your king? And is he the one in Philippians 2? And if not, then I don't want to know you, and it might be that my king comes and says, depart, I don't know you. So it might be good to just clear the air and get to the truth from all those many words you say, because I've only said a few here in double your time of 7 some minutes that were not divine to me anyway. So I'm really anxious to hear any kind of response from you about a king who comes that all will bow to. Or just admit you're with the prince and that you enjoy this princely realm, and that hope of the world is hope in the world, because you're not with the karma kingdom to come for 1,000 years and the golden rule coming true. Maybe there's bad karma for you? I don't know, but I'd really like to hear you say how you worship the coming king. Please do tell.